the non-issue that Azimio are making an issue out of. Again, the non-issues that Azimio are making an issue out of. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, my name is Kenya Revolutionary. Today, let's just examine a letter that Azimio wrote to the Kenya Kwanza a few hours ago. I won't go over the whole letter, but just in a nutshell, what they're basically requesting or asking their counterparts, the Kenya Kwanza side, is that they would like the talks to commence on the 7th of August of this month and hopefully be concluded by the end of the month before September 1st, okay? So that's the number one thing that we're asking. And number two, the issues of Azimio, they named them, is 5 issues, I guess. And let's go about it. Let's go through them. The first issue that they say they want to discuss and get resolved, because according to that letter, Kenyans are divided, and these issues, well, when they get resolved, it will help Kenyans come together. The issues are, number 1, cost of living; 2, audit of the 2022 presidential election; 3 is restructuring, and 3 was reconstructing and reconstituting of the IBC and other related matters. And number 4 was measures to prevent interference with political parties. And lastly, outstanding constitutional matters such as governance, in parentheses, adequate checks and balances, and questions of boundaries delimitation. All right, let's go through these issues really quick, because if you go about these issues, I don't see really the need. Why do we need Obasanjo to come and mediate these talks, okay? We don't need another president from another country to come into Kenya so they can resolve this issue. First of all, the cost of living. What's there to discuss? Kalonzo Musyoka, I know you signed this letter. If you're looking at this, you watch this video, and I will tag you on Twitter, because I want you to answer this. How does Obasanjo, coming from Nigeria, a failed president who's been a president for 10 years, coming from Nigeria, coming to Kenya, help mediate in talks regarding cost of living? How does he help? This responsibility of cost of living falls under the current regime, okay? The guys who won the election have the responsibility to see that their economic policies help bring down the cost of living, okay? This does not need a mediation between these two, okay? If you guys are dissatisfied with their policies, you can say so. There are places where you can express your difference. It's called the parliament, the National Assembly, so forth, okay? You can have your own policies where you can debate it at the parliament and present a bill to make a law, vote on it, see if you can get some measures that can help bring the cost of living down. Do that through the legislative body, the National Assembly. That's the branch of government that helps check the executive branch of the government, president, which includes the president, okay? So we don't need a mediation on this. There's no need of sitting down, having a panel of 5 each from Kenya Kwanza, 5 each from Azimio to sit down and talk about how to bring down the cost of living. That responsibility falls squarely on the executive with his policies. We gave him the mandate to carry out the policies, economic policies, that can help bring down the cost of living. So I don't see the reason why they should sit down and talk about cost of living. That's just a non-issue, as I say. Secondly, the auditing of the 2022 presidential election. This is a dead issue. The Supreme Court, the courts, the branch of government that sole purpose is to handle disputes between two parties. When the petition was put forth, examined the evidence, checked the servers, that you as Azimio folks brought forth, and they concluded that there was no funny business. Okay? You guys lost fair and square. So why are we still going back again? What do you want to audit? And speaking of audit, it's not Ruto's responsibility or Kenya Kwanza's responsibility to audit the 2022 presidential elections. The IEBC Act is there. You can examine it. Go read it. They're supposed to keep that the results for at least 3 years. So what you can ask for, wait for the select panel to do its job, select the next IEBC commissioners, then you can request and see if you can audit the presidential material that's related to the elections of 2022, okay? So asking to sit down with Kenya Kwanza to speak about auditing the presidential elections of the past presidential election, I don't know, 9 months after elections or a year after elections, what purpose does that serve? Nothing at all, okay? You don't need Kenya Kwanza panel of 5 or 10 or whatever the case is to sit down and discuss that. Why do you need to talk about this presidential election with Kimani Ichung'wah and Aaron Cheriot, among others that were selected on the other side? That's a non-issue. It's an issue that was already resolved at the Supreme Court, the governing body, the governing branch that handles disputes between 2 or more parties. It is done. Let it go. So that's a non-issue. Reconstructing and reconstituting of the IEBC and related matters. Again, this goes back to the Election Act and the IEBC Act. Go look at those laws. If you follow the law, you will see that there's no issue. You guys are making up stuff, okay, as you go. It's like you're bored. What's there to talk about? There's literally nothing. This is a non-issue. There's laws in place that address issues that relate to IEBC. Just go read it, Kalonzo Musyoka and your Azimio buddies, okay? All right, the third one, measures to prevent interference with political parties. I know this has been like an issue for Azimio because they've been losing a lot of politicians who have been defecting from Azimio to Kenya Kwanza. Whether they're bought or they're persuaded, that's not an issue for anyone, really. First of all, the Kenya Kwanza side, the Azimio side, there's a lot of complaints that they are ruled by dictum. If Raila says yes, it's yes. If Raila says no, it's no. If Raila decides you're going to stand, you're nominated, you are going to be the nominee. If he decides you're not, you're not. Among other issues that among other issues that Azimio side have internally, okay? Losing your MPs, your MCAs, and other elected officials that are crossing over to Kenya Kwanza is not a national problem. It is not a problem that concerns most Kenyans. That seems to be an Azimio issue, regardless of whether those politicians are being bought or not. If the people who elected them are dissatisfied by their action, whether it's performance-based dissatisfaction or just the fact that they've crossed over and went to Kenya Kwanza, then the people can go and recall their representatives. And there's laws for that. What you guys need to work on as Azimio's side, again, go through the legislative bodies and look at the laws that relates to recalling, representatives that have been voted and are not carrying out their mandate. And see if you can make it where it's easier for the Mwananchi to recall this representative. You don't call a panel of 5 and Obasanjo to come and talk to us about the whole, what you frame as interruption of political party bullcrap, okay? Again, that's not an issue that affects majority of Kenyans. It's a non-issue. And that seems to be an issue on the Azimio side, since they're the ones are losing most of their MPs or MCAs or their representatives. That's their problem. They need to go sit down as Azimio and figure out how they can prevent what's making Kenya Kwanza fish most of their representatives to cross over. So they need to sit down and figure out what's the best way that can keep that from happening. You don't have to call Obasanjo and 5 panelists from the other side to sit down and discuss that, you know? That's just politics, okay? If I'm persuaded by another political party and I feel that my own political party is not effective, then I'm free to cross over. That happens. That's just democracy. Now, I'm only answerable to the people who voted for me. If they want to recall me, then they will have every right, because they donated that power to me. So if I don't carry the mandate that they voted me to carry out, then let the people who voted me recall me. The inter-party law is there. You can go check it out. So Azimio, that's an Azimio problem. It's not a national problem. All right. Lastly, number 5, outstanding constitutional matters. What's there? In parentheses, governance issues, adequate checks and balance. Isn't that the parliament, what the National Assembly is for? The Senate and the MPs? Checks and balances? But the problem is, Azimio again, you're way too busy going to mandamanos, wearing sufurias in your head, causing chaos, instead of doing what you are elected to do. Simple. All these problems that I'm reading in this letter that Kalonzo Musyoka just wrote, and they posted on that Azimio Twitter page, seems to be an Azimio issue. It's not a national issue. But anyway, I'll keep this video short. My name is Kenya Revolution. If you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Share, like, comment. Tell me, are these 5 issues that Kalonzo Musyoka and Azimio wrote to Kenya Kwanza, are they actually national issue, or are they more of Azimio issue to resolve? Tell me what you think. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
Usikubali nusu mukate, usikubali hata wabebe mawe, sufuria kichwani Ruta, usikubali handisheki.